I'm not generally that interested in fantasy. I was in the past. I enjoy the Lord of the Rings films. I loved Harry Potter when I was little, and was a huge fan of Owen Colfer's Artemis Fowl novels in mid-high school, and one of my favorite novels, The Null by Alan Aldridge, Steve Boyd and Maxine Miller, is fantasy, but for my entire life I've been far more of a science fiction guy. Since I was raised with a love of science, it's only natural that I'd be drawn to the fiction it inspires. Still, I was very eager to read Illusion, a fantasy novel written by British author Paula Volsky and published in 1991, as it promised to have the real-world resonance that I believe science fiction has much of, but fantasy tends to lack. This sweeping yet very intimate epic has a plot heavily inspired by the French Revolution, and it's a phenomenal novel. In the fantasy kingdom of Vonar, Eliste Vauderevel is a pampered noblewoman of the exalted aristocratic class living in the small province of Derivel. Eliste is self-assured of her pure-blooded superiority and her place in the world, but has a degree of empathy for the downtrodden serfs that she can't quite explain, though exacerbated by her slightly embarrassed affection for the educated, dashing serf Drief Senazon. Just as Eliste arrives at Shireen, Vonar's majestic capital, to take her place at court, lower-class resentment toward the aristocracy reaches boiling point, and Eliste's world is explosively changed. Illusion is a marvel of steady, tense progression, vivid prose, and character depth, and the turbulent revolution it depicts has many nifty parallels to the real French Revolution. It's rare to find a novel so intensely detailed but still laser-focused. The novel devotes long, evocative passages to every step of Eliste's winding, often traumatic journey, but they never feel dry, instead immersing the reader in the world of Vonar and making you feel like you're living there. Volsky has an extraordinary talent for really beautiful metaphors and for cutting right down to the core of her characters' feelings. The novel has possibly over 200 characters directly addressed and displayed, but all are well defined, with engaging motivations and quirks. Eliste is an engrossing heroine. Despite her learned aloofness toward the lower classes, she has a kind heart and a clever mind, and once her title is stripped and she ends up destitute on the streets, hunger and desperation slowly mold Eliste into a better person, in an arc that is both gratifying and harrowingly conveyed. The plot develops from wondrous, if stressful, experiences in the shining capital, to a tense lull before the chaos, to the bloodthirsty fervor and mass deprivation of revolution, to fanciful plans for making things right again, and it all feels suspenseful and consistent. These segments of the narrative move smoothly into one another and retain engaging themes such as nobility, liberty, corruption, the role of authority, human rights, and of course, hunger. The novel's title refers to the illusion magic practiced by a few gifted exalteds, including Eliste's reclusive, eccentric Uncle Quince. The magic in Illusion is integral to the plot, yet unobtrusive. This can mostly be read as a history-inspired drama, and the magic manifests mainly in Uncle Quince's interventions and the mighty, feared, sentient machines under the command of Vuis Voleur, Vonar's tyrannical new leader. Of these sentients, the beetle-like Nunu, whose thousands of nits spy upon the Shirenian populace, adds another layer of tension. Illusion is a truly outstanding novel that earns 5 stars out of 5. To conclude this review, I want to share with you my dream cast list, should Illusion ever be adapted into a film. This cast contains many British actors and some American actors, but since Illusion is influenced by French history, including the character names, I endeavored to include some French actors too.
I never met you.
He always seemed to have time on his hands.
I would cast young French actress Marine Vacht as Eliste Vauderevel. I first saw Marine in the 2013 film Young and Beautiful, a poignant and touching drama about a teenager's illicit sexual awakening. Marine is an elegant and versatile actress and a very beautiful lady, but has strong facial features that would fit Eliste's so-called provincial appearance well. As the Marquis Vauderevel, Eliste's callous, brutish father and the ruler of Derivel, I would cast Ray Winston, who is well known for his tough guy roles. This would also be an intriguing inversion of Winston's role in The Proposition, in which he plays a man of authority who is relatively compassionate to the disadvantaged. I might have gotten it wrong, but I interpreted most of the serfs in Derivel to be black. In that case, I'd cast the very handsome Andre Holland, star of Moonlight, as Drief Senazon, Eliste's brilliant, roguish friend and ally. As Stella Zenasgirl, Dref's confident, demanding sister and short-time servant of Eliste, I would cast Lupita Nyong'o, star of 12 Years a Slave. She's a remarkable, Oscar-winning actress, and this would be a fun opportunity for her to play a villain. As Kerth, a milkmaid turned new servant of Eliste, I would cast another French actress, Adele Exarchopoulos, star of Blue is the Warmest Colour. She's a very expressive, exuberant actress, has a slightly exotic look to her, owing to some Greek ancestry, and looks enough like Marine for Eliste's commented resemblance to be apparent. For Uncle Quince, a talented, enthusiastic hermit magician, look no further than Sylvester McCoy, who played the Seventh Doctor in Doctor Who. McCoy's combination of whimsical, bouncy energy and charismatic, powerful authority would be perfect. As Zerilyn Vo Rovignac, Eliste's prim, lordly grandmother, I would cast Lindsay Duncan. Some characters in Illusion conjured an actor immediately and unquestionably to mind, and Duncan's effortless authoritative poise, capable of both warmth and instructive coldness, along with her seemingly ageless beauty, fits Zerilyn perfectly. Like with Quince and Zerilyn, my mind immediately envisioned Aurelie, Eliste's precocious, joyfully naive cousin, as played by Juno Temple. Temple is one of my favourite actresses and has a magnetic screen presence in any role she's in. The Cavalier Vaux Murel, a charismatic old friend of Zerilyn and a resourceful protector of her family during the revolutionary turmoil, was another character who I almost instantly knew who would play him, Jared Harris. I love Jared Harris, and I want to see him in as many movies as possible. King Donulus XIII, much like King Louis XVI of France, is an eminently pleasant yet ignorant and incompetent ruler. I think John C. Reilly would be a great fit, as he's really good at playing nice yet gormless characters in films such as Boogie Nights, Step Brothers, and The Lobster. For Queen Lalazé, I initially thought of casting Tuppence Middleton, who is a highly talented rising star and who, incidentally, has already played an aristocratic role in the underrated Jupiter Ascending. But since I want to include as many French actors as possible, I instead chose the great Juliette Binoche as the Queen of Vonard. The Duke of Ferrand, King Donulus's unscrupulous brother, was an interesting character to cast. I initially aimed for actors who looked like they could be plausibly related to John C. Reilly, and other than Will Ferrell, the only actor I could think of was Matt Smith. Even so, the resemblance is very slight, and the age gap is considerable. Michael Fassbender would work well as this charming yet manipulative royal, but the 12-year age gap between Fassbender, 39, and Reilly, 51, while not unrealistic, is still large. Again, since I want to include as many French actors as possible, I ultimately chose Matthew Kassovitz. Wyss Voleur, the novel's main villain and the instigator and leader of the Vonarish Revolution, is an intriguing combination of various French Revolution figures. He's a fiery journalist and orator like Marat, wields near-absolute power like Lafayette, Necker, and Mirabeau, dawdles, much like Mirabeau, over the formation of a constitution in order to consolidate and maintain his own power, and wields terror, primarily manifested in the hungry guillotine analogue, the cocotte, just like Robespierre. Wyss, a disgraced former exalted, born as the only member of his family with no magical ability, is assisted, albeit reluctantly, in swaying the public by his father Chorle Voleur and his mind-altering magic. I would cast David Tennant as Wyss and Peter Davison as Chorle. Both are remarkable actors, Tennant having amply proven himself as a proud, charismatic, indomitable villain in Jessica Jones, and there would be an added layer of realism in this casting choice through the fact that Peter Davison is David Tennant's real father-in-law. And yes, this is also an excuse to have 3 doctors in the same movie, but if that's a bit too on the nose, I cast Lambert Wilson as Wyss. Bierce Voleur, Wyss's slow-witted, hulking cousin and the main executioner in Wyss's regime, would be played by Australian actor, strongman and former wrestler Nathan Jones, who you may remember from Alexander, Fearless and Mad Max Fury Road. Shorvie Nirien is a liberal lawyer and journalist and a well-respected moderate voice in the Revolutionary Congress before his violent expulsion. I would, without a doubt, cast Patrick Stewart as Shorvie. If you've read or will be reading Illusion, I hope you enjoy it, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on my Dreamcast. Do you agree with my choices? Would you have cast the characters differently? Thanks for watching. Cheers.